Smokeless Chimney Technology Summary, June 8th, 2023, the best flames on the net. We're going to look at the technology that we learned this year. We all like to see a fire in the wood stove. How did the creosote do? Well, we got a little bit. It's not nearly as much as the first cleaning around Christmas. We have maybe a 1/4 inch of material deposited, not bad at all. It appears that we're doing clean burning. You're always going to get some type of condensation. Check. All right. So this is my setup. I'll go through the parts and I'll just generally talk about how the year went. This is an S244 stove that I configured for combustion air fan. It uses a horizontal chimney so that I can put this opacity monitor on it. So this is a prototype opacity monitor. It functioned well this year. It's larger than it needs to be. Tried various things and I came up with a design that provides good information. This S244 stove has some vents right here, and those were problematic. This wood stove is designed, or the instruction manual says it needs a 15-foot vertical chimney. We have a horizontal chimney and a combustion air fan here, and it was burping smoke out these and causing this PM monitor to go up over 100. I didn't think that was good, so I put this manifold on here. This covers up the holes, and I started out with 2 fans, one on each side, and now ended up with 1 fan. That fan I think has a maximum of 8 CFM, and this has a maximum of 10 CFM. The data acquisition is up here. It's out of the view of the camera right now, but the other thing I want to talk about is, I think it's in the camera. I will adjust my camera. Alright, so I developed this more this year. This is an ESP32 with a thermocouple and a motor controller, and it controls this fan and this fan, all on the same circuit. So when this fan gets a 5 volts, this fan will get 5 volts. So the objective is to make a fire without having a lot of PM 2.5. I think that's what everybody's objective is. With a wood stove, sometimes it's not so easy. In this wood stove, I made it extra difficult in that I'm pumping air into it. I've got open vents that are pumping smoke out, not all the time, but occasionally. I have gaps in my chimney, and those were putting smoke out. I came up with a method for pumping air in by window fans, which is fine. I can push the smoke back into the chimney, back into the wood stove. That worked okay. However, the wood stove wasn't putting out enough heat to heat the whole shop. This is an 11 kilowatt wood stove. I was probably getting 11 kilowatts out of it. The main thing was I could make smoke for the opacity monitor so that I could record the data from the opacity monitor. Now I have much videos on the data coming off the opacity monitor, but not so much on how the whole system evolved over the year. This is a test station. I can put just about any wood stove here. I've had a Q stove here. I've had, well, basically those two things. But it's set up. I want to put a different wood stove here. 11 kilowatt wood stove that pumps out smoke isn't my best. I think I've learned as much as I can with this wood stove. I want to move to a different wood stove. On the back here, I haven't shown you, can't see in this, but there's convection air I pump into the back, and it pumps over the top of the wood stove. So when this wood stove is up to operating temperature, there's another fan that I can engage. So this fan down here pumps in the bottom of the stove and comes out the secondary air burners on the top. This fan, primary air and air wash. During the summer, which we're pretty close, I think today is the 3rd of June, the fans are pumping air through the wood stove so that this air environment here doesn't smell like a wood stove. It doesn't smell like soot and what a wood stove can smell like when there's air coming down the chimney. So this is constantly pumping air out the wood stove at this temperature. If the wood stove heats up, this control system will start kicking in more air. If I hit this reset button, it'll assume there's a fire in there and it'll start kicking in quite a bit of air. Okay, so we've talked about opacity monitor, we've talked about the wood stove. We've talked about the secondary air fan, we've talked about the primary air fan. We've talked about the controller. We've talked about PM 2.5. What else? Data acquisition system. Alright, I'm starting to take some of the items off. I've removed a controller that was here. Thought show you this little fan here. A good fan. Right. I want to show you the inside. I've vacuumed it out. Give you an idea of how the holes work, how the secondary air ports are, and then I'll try to get where the primary air comes down for the window. Like this. There's not a lot to see inside a combustion chamber. However, it's the most important part of the wood stove. The bricks appear to be in good shape. Back here is the riser tube for the secondary combustion air. Comes up into this area. I did this video to show that there's really no low air ports on this stove, and I think that's one of its downfalls. SPI thinks they can bring all the air from the top And I'm just a little concerned that that isn't getting proper burning. The stove designers at SBI are great. However, other manufacturers like Lopi, Travis Industries always have a low port. Even some of the soapstone wood stoves I purchased have low air ports. I call them coal invigorators. Smokeless Chimney, www.smokelesschimney.com, Facebook, Reddit, and YouTube.